What's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I wanted to come up in early in this morning, kind of finish our conversation we were having yesterday about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, as you might know, is going through some controversy right now, particularly over the promotion of a documentary. I think the documentary is called From Hebrews to Negroes. And apparently, Kyrie's been accused of anti Semitism or whatever. And there has been a lot to unpack with this. We unpacked it a little bit last night. I'm going to unpack it a little bit further today. And before I begin, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, shout out the city that you're from. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. This is a place for people who are also Black first, who also believe in things like freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Now, I hope you agree with me. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree that we don't have to agree with Kyrie Irving to support him. Give me a yes in the chat if you we can start the conversation there. Do you agree with me that we don't have to agree with Kyrie to support his right to have his own perspective? Same thing with Kanye or anybody else. Give me a yes in the chat because I kind of want to encourage you all. I'm not here to tell anybody what to think because I told you guys I believe in freedom, but I really think you have to pay close attention. Pay close attention to the power game and the oppression game. The very same people that are walking around saying, oh, you're oppressing us. What you're doing is so racist to us. It's so mean to us. You're hurting us. We don't have any power. Why would you say we have power? But then they turn around, they cancel you. They cut off all your contracts. They cut off all your business. They stomp you to death in the media. So it's incredibly anti-Black behavior. It's really, really fascinating. And what's really interesting, has anybody paid attention to some of the other interesting things happening in terms of how the other Black men on TV are responding to the whole situation with Kyrie Irving? Has anybody seen how Shaquille O'Neal responded to the situation with Kyrie Irving? I think Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley both went out of their way to go on TV to call him an idiot, right? And I find that really fascinating because this is really the plantation mindset. The plantation mindset, and remember all these guys, and to some extent, Kyrie might even be included. I don't know, but think about it. This is what happens when your whole community is nothing but a big pack of employees. You don't have a lot of Black men that have true independent power. You really don't. And in fact, I would give credit to Kanye West, who I did talk to last night for a second. I give credit to Kanye, even though I don't agree with everything Kanye says. I don't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I really don't. And I told him that. But I agree with. I like at least Kanye's willing to walk away from a massive, massive financial deal. Many massive financial deals to maintain his independence. He might be a little bit strange in some ways. He might say things that don't make any sense sometimes, but that's because his mind operates in a different space sometimes at times. But I just chalk that up to creativity. But one thing that I really like is I like watching him break off the chains. He's breaking off the financial chains. He's breaking off the psychological chains. He's breaking off all the social chains. So, which is very different from what you're seeing from some of these other men. And I use that term men very loosely. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me. I want to is that is the way Black men are positioned as puppets and pawns to pursue the agenda that white men are afraid to pursue themselves. So you have guys like Shaq and Barkley who kind of get called on, and they say, "One, sorry, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you give me a yes if you can hear me. Okay, I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, can you hear me? All right, good. Sorry about that. I was pulling up this image. Sometimes it happens. If the audio goes out for a second, I hope you'll bear with me. We don't have some fancy high tech studio. This is literally me using some apps that will help me communicate the message. I'm all about the substance, not the flash. I want the substance to be there. So you throw in guys like Shaq and Barkley. It's really interesting because these guys, what I would say to them is I'd say, this is really none of your business. Like, why did they defer to you? They defer the Negro questions to you. One of your Negroes is out of line. So we need you to get him back in line. So you're kind of put positioned as an overseer, and it ends up making you look weak. It makes you look kind of sad and pathetic. It makes you look like less of a man. You might think you're a man because you're a big, strong buck who made some money. But the reason you have money is because your oppressor likes you, and they like you because you help facilitate their oppression. Nobody's saying that Kyrie's 100% correct. I told y'all, I don't know the whole history. I have a very good friend who is a member of the Hebrew Israelite community. I have a lot of respect for that community, by the way. I think that they have a lot of things right in terms of independence. Like, put it this way: if there's ever a nuclear holocaust, I want to go live with the Nation of Islam or the Hebrew Israelites because they're going to be able to survive. A lot of y'all Negroes just gonna die because they ain't no McDonald's franchises open and ain't no corporate jobs available. Like, no disrespect, but some of y'all too far on the grid. I want to learn from the people who are off the grid. That's why I talked to Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter, and I was like, man, I want to get my survivalist game up in case the stuff really hits the fan. So anyway, I was speaking to one of my friends from the Hebrew Israelite community, and she was giving me a really interesting point of view, about Black people being the original Jews, and and there's a perspective there, right? One that I think needs to be heard. In fact, what's interesting to me is that we grow up, we will hear the white perspective far more than we hear the Black perspective. So you get so caught up in believing the white perspective that you were fed as a kid, that when the Black perspective comes along, you think it's crazy. You think it's a conspiracy theory. You think it's all made up. You think it's all a bunch of lunatics, right? Because what they're saying is causing what psychologists refer to that as cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is where you've believed a lie for your whole entire life. So when somebody comes along and says, no, that's actually not true, you kind of freak out. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, this is messing me up. It disrupts what is called your schemata. Your schemata is where you are given a certain way of viewing the world or viewing a situation. Like you ever see like you ever watch those shows where they'll talk about a husband who had a whole secret life where he was like kidnapping women and hiding them in the basement, and his wife thought he was like a school teacher or something, and a wonderful father, like a regular guy, but he had this really crazy dark secret. But that the reason she freaks out and doesn't believe it is because it's disrupting her schemata. It's causing cognitive dissonance. So a lot of us, because we're brainwashed early on a certain set of beliefs, when you run into a free thinking Black man, you don't know what to do. When you see Kyrie Irving saying, I don't believe that. This is what I believe this over here. First thing you're thinking is like, what's wrong with him? Why would you do that? Why you're messing things up? So then, the system is very good. The system does what a system does. The system says, okay, we're going to go to our select Negroes. We're going to go to Barkley and Shaq. We paid them hundreds of millions of dollars, to represent our interests. We paid them to be overseers of the Black community because we can't control a Kyrie Irving. We don't know what to do with him. So we're gonna get Barkley to talk to him, or get Shaq to talk about him, and maybe that'll tame him, calm him down, and sort of restore order to people. I understand this very well because when I was at University of Kentucky many years ago, I was getting my PhD, but I had taken a little detour. I spent 3 years teaching mathematics at the University of Kentucky, and during that time when I was teaching math, I also began to write for the school paper. And when I used to write for the school paper, I used to basically write what I saw. I let God and my instincts tell me what the world was. Like, I just call it for what it was. And the thing was that the conclusions I came to, which were independently formed without the influence of outsiders, they just seemed crazy, almost like it was from another planet. And but the thing was that because I was like a mathematician also, I would logically and specifically and very directly lay out the racism and exactly why it was unfair. So, for example, I could mathematically explain exactly why it was unfair that college athletes were not being paid, and I connected it to the history of slavery, where there is a massive amount of exploitation of the Black community, economically speaking, and college sports was just an extension of that. And then I also even compared it to like pimping, to the pimp game, right? A pimp extorts money from the women that work for him, but he claims that it's like a type of protection. And then if the women start to get too informed or too empowered, he pulls out the pin pan and he slaps them. And that's to send a message. So with this particular case with Kyrie, they're just kind of pulling out the pin pan. They're kind of basically saying, okay, we're going to pimp slap you, and we're not just going to slap you, we're going to slap you in public. And really, we're not going to do it directly. We're going to get our overseers to kind of help with the pimp slap, so that other people will understand that they shouldn't actually support you. That if they support you, they're going to get slapped too. I mean, I just really think, I mean, pay attention to this, man. I want y'all to think about this. I don't have no problem with LeBron James as a family man. I have a tremendous amount of respect for LeBron James as a businessman. I love LeBron James as an athlete. But my Lord Jesus, how in the hell can a black man support Joe Biden and not support Kyrie Irving? I mean, I'm not saying you got to support. I'm not saying you got to agree with Kyrie. I'm saying support his right to have freedom of speech. Do y'all understand that? I want to make that nuance clear. How in the world can a black man support Joe Biden, a guy who sent your uncles, brothers, and fathers to prison, talked about you like you were roaches? I'm not telling you to go vote for Trump and all that. I'm not into Democrat Republican nonsense. But it's insanity that you would support a guy who wanted to exterminate your entire family like Adolf Hitler did. Like, he literally led one of the greatest holocausts in the history of this world in the black community. And yet we have no problem tweeting, everybody go vote, y'all. Everybody go vote for Democrats, y'all. We got to get Biden in office, y'all. You do all of that. But then when your brother simply says, yo, let me speak, let me just have a perspective, let me just, come in here and give a point of view, it might be a little bit different. You ain't got to agree. Kyrie ain't never went out and said, you have to believe me or agree with me. Kyrie just said, this is who I am. This is who I am. I mean, think about this. We live in this world where I'm supposed to, look at Lizzo promoting obesity on behalf of white people all around the world that's getting millions of people killed. And you want to call that fat shaming or attacking somebody, but yet Kyrie Irving can't just be who he is. You got men out here that want to be women. They want to put on a wig and a dress and act like they can get pregnant like a woman, and we're supposed to like talk about that with a straight face. But yet, when a black man simply shows up and says, "I'm a free thinker, I have my own opinion," it's the end of the world. We all supposed to freak out. Well, I don't freak out. I look at Kyrie and I don't, I don't know the Kyrie. I never met him. I know Ye. I talked to Ye, a few times. But Kyrie, I don't know him. But I just said, well, what's wrong with a man having an opinion? What's wrong with a black man simply just saying, look, this is what I like, this is what I believe, this is cool. Right. So we know that this is sinister. Right. We know this. We know that this is corruption. We know that, and what's really hilarious is that the people who are coming after Kyrie, it's so hilarious to me that they're trying to make the point that you're wrong, you're being anti-Semitic because you point out the fact that we have so much power, or you're being racist against us because you're pointing out the fact that we have so much wealth, or you're a bad person because you pointed out the fact that we control almost all the media, right? And they want to act like it's not true, and then they turn around, they say, we're going to destroy you in every way that we possibly can. We are going to cut off all your wealth. We're going to cut off all your ability to trade. We're going to cut off every corporate relationship you have. We are going to use coordinated media propaganda, similar to what Hitler used, to destroy your reputation around the world. I mean, isn't it fascinating how the alleged victim can learn or begin to emulate the behavior of their oppressor? We know that what happened during World War II was terrible. But if you study and you break it down, you'll see how media was used to stigmatize a group of people, to basically create the conditions under which others felt it was okay to exterminate them. Well, when they are taking black men and hanging them out to dry and emasculating them in public, or they are putting billions of dollars into record labels that are mass promoting around the world the image of the black man as an insane, maniacal, violent, irresponsible, unintelligent monkey. Like, you're promoting this. You're putting your money into this. Black folks ain't got trillions of dollars to invest in the promotion of music. Y'all do. You're promoting this, and you're trying to say that we're the ones who are being racist, or we're the ones who are being discriminatory toward others. Get out of here. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. Now I'm gonna say this: the documentary, looks like it's called Hebrew to Negro: Wake Up, Black America. I'm gonna put that name up there just because I think one good thing that can come out of this is that you have a black-owned movie that's gonna blow up. I think it's awesome. I think it's worth watching. I think that this controversy exposes a lot of people to new ideas. And the truth of the matter is that what's beautiful about all of this, in my opinion, is that when you stand up um to the toxin, when you stand up, you're like a disinfectant. And so what happens is it stings a little bit, but ultimately you're making progress. The fact that Kyrie stood in the fire again, I know Kyrie issued an apology, by the way. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he's somebody, Jeff Lightsey Jr. over at Ball Sports, sent me this long, well written apology that Kyrie had written, and I didn't like it. I hate. I don't know about y'all. I don't know. Give me a yes or no. I kind of get sick of seeing black men apologize, and I just, but I get it. You're employees, like you work for people. You're getting money. Like, Barkley. And what's interesting is Barkley actually made a good point that was actually quite practical, and this is one you got to pay attention to. I'm not a fan of Barkley's treatment of Kyrie, but he made a good point. He said how can you take $40 million of my money and then insult my religion, or insult who I am, or whatever, right? And I actually kind of agree with that. Ain't no way. I don't know about y'all, but ain't no way I'm gonna pay you, millions of dollars of my money and have you talking smack to me. Like, you're not. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Y'all might think that's okay. I don't think it's okay. So here's what that says, though. What this says is that black men need their own sports leagues. Black men. Another person I connected with last night was a guy by the name of Ice Cube. I sent Cube a text. I told him about the reparations rally that Tariq Nasheed is hosting in D.C. this week, and I'm going to join the reparations rally. Jade Arendelle and some other people are going to do this. I hope you'll support it if you live in the D.C. area. I put it on my Instagram. My Instagram is the Real Boyce Watkins. I'll put the flyer up again today. But I text Cube and told him about the reparations rally, and he kind of hit me back. He couldn't make it, but I'm really proud of the fact that he's at least trying with this whole big three concept. I don't understand for the life of me why black men don't actually own a sports league when you have probably 1,000 times more money than the black men who own the Negro leagues. You don't have a lack of money. You have a lack of mindset. Your mindset is that is irrational, in the sense that you think that you can be an employee and still be the boss at the same time. You think you could be the worker and still be the big kahuna on the job. You can't do those. You can't do those two things at once. You can't be a little boy and a grown ass man all at once. It doesn't work. I can't be the son and the daddy. Like, I can't. Like, pick one. Which one are you? And the thing is that there's a cost to be the boss. The cost is that you don't get that comfortable paycheck. The cost is that it does take a little bit of work. The cost is that it does require you to take on a lot of responsibility. The cost is that you're going to actually make a plan and have a vision. You have to do that. The cost is that you're going to have to build infrastructure. You're going to have to work as a team. And I think that a lot of guys in entertainment and sports, one area where they could use a lot of coaching is in the mindset required to make the sacrifice necessary to truly be the owners of the entity, so you can make the decisions you want to make. If Kyrie was a partner in his own league, there would be no consequences for him saying anything that he wanted to say. He might lose a few friendships, sure, but it wouldn't be something where he's getting suspended on his job and getting his pay docked and having to issue apologies. I'm not even nearly as wealthy as Kyrie. I'm not nearly as wealthy as Kanye. I'm not nearly as wealthy as some of these entertainers. I mean, white folks will pay you lots of money to dribble basketballs, throw footballs, and rap. I get it, but I don't have to issue. Have y'all ever seen me issue an apology for anything I've said? I mean, only people I will ever apologize to is black people. Y'all the only ones I'll ever apologize to, because you guys support me. Y'all have my back. Y'all came to the All Black National Convention. You helped me get things done. I'll apologize to you. I'll apologize to my wife. I apologize to my kids if I'm wrong. I'm not going to apologize to people who should be apologizing to me. And that's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. So two things I'll point out just to be specific. Two things about all of this that's really weird. That's really just kind of black specific. This is something specifically happens to black people and nobody else. One is this sort of crazy apology tour that all these guys have to go on when they offend somebody, and you'll be like, "Well, what exactly did I say that was wrong?" And they can't tell you what you said that was wrong. They won't even debate with you. They won't even sit down and explain where you were wrong. Like they won't even like debate the facts with you. They'll just say because we said so. So Negroes be apologizing because they said so. Literally, I mean, does anybody notice that? Does anybody notice how many people have seen a person really sit down and have a debate with Kyrie or the makers of this film to say, okay, these are the areas that we have an issue with. This is the point of contention. They don't do that. They don't do that. So that's the first thing, right? These apology tours are insane to me. It's really embarrassing. It's emasculating. If I was a black woman, I'd be looking at y'all sideways. I'd be like, let me get a real man up in here because y'all ain't acting like no real men. Real men don't have to do all that begging and getting on your knees and all that and apologizing when you ain't even did nothing wrong. The second thing is that's uniquely black, that's very strange to me, is how is the overseer complex. How they go out and they get these black people that they put on TV. You know, they get the Barclays and the Shacks, and and they have the Barclays and the Shacks say the things that they're not willing to say. They have them take on the activities that they're not willing to take on themselves. It's kind of like, okay, come over here and get your boy. Or we got these. When I was at University of Kentucky, I remember that. I remember when I started writing articles about racism that were factual. I was very polite. I was very specific, and I went out of my way to be able to prove everything that I said. Right? Truth becomes a disinfectant. Truth becomes an exterminator for the roaches. Right? Truth kills the bacteria. Truth kills the viruses. So I was just laying things out that I could prove. I would have those debates. So check this out. What happened is they would send black people who were part of the institution to try to talk me down. They would literally send these Negroes like that worked for the administration, and they would they it was really hilarious, like an insult to my intelligence. See, they didn't understand. To be honest with you, I'm not a bragger. I'm not, Kanye's got, talking to Kanye is really funny because he really will tell you he's the most important person in the world and he's a genius, everything else. Maybe that's fine. That's fine. I don't operate like that. But I'm gonna say I'm not a stupid person. I'm very, very smart. I'm very observant. I see things, I understand things on a very high level. And that was even me when I was 25 years old. So I would watch the whole game. I would analyze. I'd be like, this is an interesting strategy. So you brought this guy to me and you even studied me. Like he'll talk like me. He'll talk about things that I'm interested in. He'll have things in common with me. And you're doing that so you can make me comfortable, so you can knock me off my position or get me to change my behavior. And I see the whole thing coming. Like I see the whole play developing. Like I'm playing the defense, you're playing the offense. I know that when you throw the ball to the running back, he's gonna throw it right back to the quarterback, and you're gonna flick it down the field. So I already know how to play defense on that particular type of attack. So ultimately, there's a game being played here, black people. There's a game being played. We can call this the plantation game. The plantation game is one where it has been played for hundreds of years. Ain't nothing happening here that didn't happen on the plantation 300, 400 years ago. You have a black man, Kyrie Irving, Exhibit A, who is going out in public and saying and doing things that might be factually correct, but they are not consistent with what the system wants him to do, not consistent with what the system wants him to think. So then you send the overseer, the master gets concerned. So he doesn't want to necessarily handle it himself directly. So he calls in the overseer, which would be Barkley and Shaq. And the overseer goes to slave Kyrie's um, farmhouse, or to goes to his cabin and basically talks him down, but also talks him down in a way that beats him down, right? Like, and then if Kyrie refuses to relent, then he pulls out the whip and he starts whipping him on behalf of the master. And then the master says, "That's a good job, boy. Here's more money. Here's more biscuits for you. You get extra biscuits and chicken tonight for dinner. So Barkley and Shaq ingratiate themselves to their bosses by agreeing to be the whipping boy, to grab the whip and go take Kyrie to the back and spank him and try to humiliate him. What I do like is I like the consistency of Kyrie. I like the fact that he knows who he is. Um, I also think that there's a lot of progress being made because I think a lot of people, particularly black men, are watching Kyrie's behavior, and you're learning a different view and a different model of manhood. One that just kind of says, that you stand on it, that you just stand on who you are. And, as much as gangster as people want to be in the world of hip hop and all that, I want to see y'all get gangster with white supremacy. If you can't get gangster with white supremacy, then you're not no gangster. You're a punk. You're a wimp. You're weak. You're a loser. You're a bum. If you can only go out and shoot your own brother, but you can't stand up against the people that are harming you, then I can't have any respect for you. So Kyrie is not afraid of the establishment. Also, Kyrie understands the rules of economic warfare. I'm 100% sure Kyrie understood that he was going to lose a lot of money by doing the things that he does. And what Kyrie learned was the secret sauce. The secret sauce about money is that you have to understand the power of money, but you have to understand the limits to the power of money. See, some of y'all, when you learn the power of money, you think money is the most important thing in the world. So you'll do anything for money. But the problem is that you can overdose. Money is a drug. Money is a drug. A drug can either heal you and make you better. If you're sick, you need drugs sometimes, right, to make yourself better. But you can also overdose. You can become an addict. So when you start seeing black men and women or whatever that are apologizing and begging and pleading and saying stuff that don't make no sense, making themselves look stupid, embarrassing their families, embarrassing the community, just so they can get more money or maintain their money, those are nothing but financial addicts. They're economic crackheads. They need to have that validation. They need that financial support, or they're going to be done. They're going to end up bankrupt. So really, the thing about standing up to white supremacy is that you had to have your money right. You had to be ready. I imagine. I don't know. I can't speak for Ye. I can't speak for Kanye at all. We have talked, about some financial stuff and everything because that's what I do. But I get a sense that he's prepared to let go. I mean, if you saw the numbers behind his deal with Adidas, you would be freaking out. I mean, this man was making 23 times more money, 23 times more money than the CEO of Adidas. He made $250 million from Adidas. I mean, imagine getting checks for $20 million a month. This man, and that was just one of his contracts. That wasn't the only one. That was one of many. He walked away from that. He walked away from that because he wanted his freedom. I admire that. I just do. I think it's cool. And the thing is, why would we act like that's the end of the world? Like I would worry about him. It's like, okay, brother, I hope you're okay. I hope you're not, the pressure isn't messing you up. I hope that you're able to kind of stand firm. But in my view, you know, I think that's a beautiful example of understanding what money can and cannot do for you. It's not the end of the world if Kanye loses a billion, a two, $3 billion. If he's got 3, 4, 500 million that he can live off of for the rest of his life. Why is that such a disaster? Why is that so sad? I mean, isn't there anything in your life that you're willing to sacrifice for? That you're willing to let money go for? Or are you that much of an economic slave that you think money is the answer to everything? It's not, but it's up to you to make that choice. And that goes back to the basic premise of why I was talking about Kyrie this morning anyway, why it was on my mind, it was on my spirit. Um, Kyrie, again, I reiterate to you, you do not have to agree with Kyrie Irving in order to support him. All you got to do is believe that a black man or black woman has the right to have his own ideas and to be free. If you believe that, then we're on the same page. So this is not a Democrat or Republican debate. This is not about whether or not you think black people are the original Jews. Y'all can have that debate on another channel. This is about just simply saying, does he have a right to be free? Well, I would like to believe our ancestors died for us to be free. So he's serving the ancestors well by exercising his freedom. That's why I respect it. That's why I support it. That's why I think the brother's on point. All right, guys. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you'd like to get text notifications, you guys know we're on Spotify and all that too. You can look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify if you want to follow my podcast on Spotify. You can also text the word Boyce to 31996 to get text notifications when I go live. Text Boyce to 31996. Last but not least, if you want to teach wealth to your kids, we are big believers in establishing financial literacy as a baseline of Black culture at an early age. If your kids are financially intelligent, then they can actually fight their battles in life without having to constantly give in to, the power structure, or they can just live their best life and be free. So we have financial flashcards that we designed specifically for our kids. If this is of interest to you, you can take a visit to financialflashcards.com. You guys know my background. I'm a finance professor. My PhD's in finance. I've taught finance at the college level for many years. And one of the secret sauce formulas that I'm implementing for the Black community worldwide, and I'm happy to be talking to Kanye because we're in alignment on this, and we're going to do this all around the world. All around the world, we're going to make sure that Black children have the highest financial literacy level on earth, that our kids are the most economically intelligent people on the planet, so they learn how to create their own wealth. They know how to create their own power. And I brought that idea up to Kanye. He liked it a lot, and so I think that we can be friends off of that, and that's why I respect him. If you ever want to know why I like talking to the brother, it's because we agree on this Black thing. We gotta fight. If we don't fight and we don't get ready for battle, we're going to continue to get our butts kicked. I don't want to be on the losing team. I want to win. I want to win. We're meant to be winners. We are. We're so strong. We're so capable. We have so much potential. We are so extraordinary at what we do that's what scares everyone else. Everyone is afraid of us because they see what happens when we wake up and when we unify. When we get together and we educate ourselves and we prepare and we stand tall and we ain't scared of y'all no more, and we'll have those uncomfortable conversations and we're coming together around the world and making things happen. Oh, it's about to be on. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm so pumped. I mean, I am so pumped. I don't know about y'all, but literally, when I see these things happen, when I see people stand up and ready to go to battle, and just represent the community at a high level, it inspires the shit out of me. It makes me feel like, wow, what more can I do? How can I go to another level? So I don't know about y'all, but this morning I am feeling really good. I'm feeling really proud to be Black. Our team is winning. We are making a point. We're making a statement. Just think about it. That documentary from Hebrew from Hebrews to Negroes. Like, that documentary is going to make millions of dollars now because everybody's talking about it. They're on Twitter. They're tweeting about it. They're Instagramming about it. They can't kill everybody. And what I really hope is that one day we can actually get some of these athletes. I mean, Kyrie's your brother, man. Like, y'all play basketball together. Can't you at least support his right to freedom of speech? Can't you at least say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with a lot of stuff Kyrie says, but hey, he's my man, and I respect his right to have an opinion. I mean, that's all you got to do, LeBron. Like, like that's all you got to do. Like, like Durant. Like, all you got to do is just say, you know what? That's my friend. He's always treated me well. I don't necessarily understand who the original Jews are. I don't know nothing about that, but I think in America we all believe in freedom of speech, and so I respect his right to have freedom of speech. I think that if anyone disagrees with Kyrie on this issue, they should probably debate him on the issue. We should have a debate, right? And why? No, think about this. I want y'all. I want to draw your attention to this point. Why are they afraid to actually debate the facts? Why do they just come out and start sort of using this cloak to say, "Oh, you're anti this, you're anti that"? I mean, process that for a minute. I mean, really, if you really are so correct, if I'm really wrong, then why are you not proving me wrong? Why are you not? Okay, you should have me on the show. We sit down, we talk it out, we bring on some experts. You get your experts, I'll bring mine. You get your scholars, we got our scholars. Y'all debate it out. I mean, I asked you this question because I know the answer. It's for the same reason that they don't have Farrakhan on TV. Does anybody know the last time what happened the last time they tried to have a fair and square debate with Louis Farrakhan? It was 40 years ago on the Donahue show. They bought Farrakhan on the Donahue show, and they were trying to basically like, oh, we're gonna put this Negro in his place. We're gonna put him in his place because they think you're stupid, and they don't understand. Farrakhan got 50 times more brain cells than your brightest scholars will ever have because he done been through the fire. Farrakhan has fought the wars. Farrakhan is ready. He went on Donahue and tore those people up. He tore them up. Jawanza Kunjufu, when he went on those shows, he tore those people up. Our best and brightest are better than their best and brightest. Why? Well, because we have gone through it. When I told Charlemagne what questions to ask Joe Biden, I text Charlemagne and said, ask him about this, ask him about that. Joe Biden blew a gasket. He freaked out. He got pissed. He had his little handles in the background. Excuse me, the vice president's gonna have to leave. By Mr. Biden has to go. And then Biden says, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. He lost it because their biggest fear is intelligent and courageous black people. I'm telling you, if you build your intelligence collectively and you stop being scared of these people and learn how to stand up. Like some of y'all men, grow your balls back, man. Stop it. Stop trying to fit in and start trying to do right. Stop trying to get along. start standing up. Stand up straight. When we show up and we are prepared and we are intelligent, we are focused, unified, and unfearful, they don't know what to do with us. So black people are winning. I'm telling you, this is a great moment. Kyrie represented himself well. I know he issued the apology, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not as upset about his Kanye about his apology as I was about some of the others. I wish I didn't have to see it, but at the same time, I feel like Kyrie's a little different. I feel like he's held on for quite a while and he's remained pretty consistent. So even though I'm not a big fan of the apology tours, I think that a way to kind of mitigate that would be black league ownership. So I think that black people, all these black athletes talking all this smack, all these so-called activists, these powder puff activists. I'm not disrespecting Colin Kaepernick and LeBron, but you're not really in a position to truly be empowered because you're still the very people that you're complaining about, the very people you claim to be standing up to are actually the ones who pay your bills and tell you what to do. I don't know if I understand that. I just don't. I don't know if you have the courage to do something that would truly make you unpopular, like something where the Democrats and the Republicans are mad at you because you're 100% black first. There's not a lot of athletes who really do that. They'll become, extreme liberals and they'll start barking and screaming about transgender rights and gay rights and immigration and whatever the Democratic Party approved talking points are. They go ballistic over that. They'll get mad about the environment or whatever. But when they get into that territory where they might have to actually pay a price and might actually have to go out there by themselves and fight, where the numbers aren't necessarily in their favor anymore, they kind of buckle. And in fact, if you with LeBron, what's interesting, and I didn't necessarily have an issue with his position on this. This is the fight. This is the battle I wouldn't have picked. But does anybody remember what happened when they asked LeBron about democracy being destroyed in Hong Kong? When they because China has been oppressing Hong Kong basically, and they used the pandemic as an opportunity to kind of basically shut down democracy in Hong Kong. It was really crazy because Hong Kong was being handed over by the British to the Chinese, and the people there wanted democracy, and the Chinese government they're not into democracy. So they asked LeBron about Hong Kong. And LeBron, LeBron literally like buckled. He buckled like a bitch. He didn't say he didn't want to piss off China at all. He was scared to death. Well, why is that? Well, because he makes a lot of money in China. The NBA is very popular in China. I taught a class in China years ago, a finance class. They love basketball in China. I was stunned by the fact that 100% of the boys in my class all play basketball, and they were all terrible, by the way. Like they didn't have the skills that I had, because I grew up playing basketball. But I remember noticing how much money the NBA was making in China, and so China not only will take away all your money, because again, they play economic warfare just like the people that are going after Kyrie, but also the Chinese government will lock you up. They'll do a Brittany Griner on your ass. So LeBron, theoretically, if LeBron had crossed the Chinese government, it would not be inconceivable that LeBron could go to China for an exhibition tour, and literally they lock him up and take him to jail and hold him indefinitely, like until his trial, which might happen 8 years later. Like they're that gangster with it. So LeBron, when it came time to really stand up against the Chinese government in a battle that was really going to be costly for him, he wasn't really ready for that. And I don't blame him. I don't know if I would have taken that battle on either, because I don't know if that's a fight I'd want. But my point is that when you're talking about what Kyrie's doing, the reason I put Kyrie's activism above the fake activism of some of these other athletes, is that this is not some sort of like, I'm going to go out and repeat a bunch of Democratic Party talking points, when the Democratic Party has done almost nothing for Black people in the last 60, 70 years. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, somebody put his name in the chat. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, I respect him. He stood up for his Muslim religion. He said, "Look, we don't, I'm not pledging allegiance to that flag. I'm just not going to do it." He paid a price for that. I love that. I think that's really great. So ultimately, what I think at the end of the day is, Kyrie, I don't know if he claims Black or doesn't claim Black. I mean, maybe he's, in a different space, and I respect all of that. But what I do like is I like the idea of a Black man being free. That's it. That's all. I support his freedom. I don't support all of his ideas. I don't agree with everything he says, but I support his right to be free. And that's where I stand on that. And that's what I want you to understand, is that you don't have to necessarily embrace everything that someone else does for you to say, look, no, I just support the right to play the game. Like if you're in a basketball game, you don't necessarily like the idea that the other team's trying to score points against you, but you don't necessarily think they don't have the right to play. Right. So that's, I think, an important distinction. And I really think any Black person who is commenting on this, in a way that is supporting the pre-existing power structure, I would question that, because I would say, wait a minute, why are you so offended about Kyrie's belief about Judaism? You're not Jewish. I don't see these other people coming in and fighting our battles for us. So why are you fighting Master's battles like that? Why are you doing that, Barkley? Like, why do you feel the need to jump up and, defend, Jewish people and white women and whoever else you feel was offended? But your ability to defend your own is somewhat limited and somewhat questionable. So that's my issue, is because if you really pay attention, go do some research and look at, you want to talk about hate speech and anti anything. I mean, who owns these record labels that are mass promoting images of the Black man that are just terrible? I mean, seriously, they call you the N word in every damn song, and they refuse to have that conversation. They refuse to acknowledge what they're doing there. That's the crazy part to me. Well, it's not crazy. It's crazy if you think that life is fair. It's not crazy if you understand how life actually works. So what you're seeing is the game of power being played. I encourage you to learn how to play it. All right, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I just thought I would come in and I didn't have any structured plan for this particular podcast episode. I just want to come in and chop it up with y'all, because I think this Kyrie thing's worth talking about. I might even talk about it again if there's a development, if something else comes up. By the way, on Twitter, I'm at Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So feel free to follow me on Twitter. And also, last but not least, if you wanted to look at the financial flashcards for kids, you can feel free to go to financialflashcards.com. It's a great way to get your kids ahead and teach them financial literacy, stuff like that. All right, guys, please have a good day. God bless you. Thank you for listening. I'm out. I'm going to go take me a nap. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care now. Peace.